Hey, welcome back everyone. Today we are doing a shoe care video, walking through the process to fully clean a shoe and then condition and shine it. So let's start with kind of looking over what the current state of the boot is, and then that'll give us a good baseline to compare at the end when we're finished. Now this is a pair of St. Crispins. This is model 403s in a cognac shrunken calfskin. Existing shine that we're looking at right now with the heavy dark brown burnish. This is almost a year old, so it just goes to speak to the fact that if you do it properly, it will last. With any shoe care routine, you always want to start by brushing. That just helps to activate the leather and also remove any dust or surface dirt. I always prefer using pure polish products, cleaner conditioner, or even neutral cream to clean off old paste and polish like this. The orange oil that's in the cleaner conditioner is extremely efficient at pulling off old paste like this. You just have to be gentle with the pressure that you're applying, and it will pull the polish off rather quickly. As we're going through and doing this, it's important to continue to move to a clean part of the cloth or of the t-shirt that I'm using here, and that just helps that you're actually pulling more off and you're not just like swirling around the old polish that you've already pulled off. Now once you're finished with the cleaner conditioner, I usually recommend giving it at least 5 to 10 minutes, if not longer. But the most important thing is not the amount of time, but just what the feel is. If it's still tacky or wet, you should wait. Once you feel that the leather is dry, then you're ready to brush and move on to the next step. Now today I'm using a light brown cream. This is really just going to replace some of the pigments, add a little more conditioning oils, and kind of begin to build a minimal protective layer that we'll add on to with the subsequent steps. As you can see here, as well as the previous step, the amount of product that you should be using is rather minimal. The product goes a long way, and by applying it with your fingertip, you can really get a feel for how much is being absorbed versus how much is just kind of sitting on the surface getting swirled around. With the cream polish, same rule of thumb as with the cleaner conditioner. It's about half the time, generally speaking, but again, it's not necessarily the amount of time, but it's the feel. If it's still tacky, wait a little bit. And especially if you're brushing and the boot is not getting a soft shine, but it's actually getting duller, that means that it's still wet and you should let it sit and rest before you come back and brush again. The main difference between the pig bristle and the horsehair, the pig bristle is just a much stiffer brush, so it's really good for textured leathers and kind of cream polishes that you want to agitate and kind of heat up that friction quickly to kind of disperse some of those solvents. Now the next step here is when we're going to begin to build the base layer on the toe and the heel. The important part about this is that you are applying an even layer everywhere, just on the toe and heel, of course, but that's gonna allow the subsequent layers after that to remain even, which is what creates the shine. Looking at the steps here, it's rather simple. Build the base layer, you buff that off with a brush or a cloth, and then you repeat that, but you use the high shine instead of the regular paste. And then once that's dry, which is rather quick, you begin buffing with water and dabs of paste on the cloth until you reach the desired shine. The imperfections are what's going to prevent the mirror shine from developing. Now I have the dark brown and the light brown paste out here, as well as the high shine paste. You don't need pigment and paste for this. I prefer using a couple different colors along with the high shine because it just adds a little bit of depth to the overall look of the shoe. Definitely not going to burn shit as much as I did last time, but will add a little bit of depth to the boot. I think the obvious question at this point is, how do you know when you're done? And there's really no right or wrong answer. It's really just depending on what it is that you're trying to achieve with the shine. Is it that you want to create a full mirror shine? Is it that you just want to add a little bit of protective layer and kind of draw a little more attention to the toe? Depending on whatever it is, like once you get to that point and you're happy with how it looks, like that's when you would stop. Now this final buff that I'm doing right now, there's really no additional paste. I may tap it a little bit depending on how effortlessly the cloth is kind of sliding along here, but it's mainly just a very small amount of water, and I'm just using the cloth to kind of buff out any streaks or anything else so that it's very smooth and you're not seeing any lines vertically or like horizontally with the way that your eye is looking at it. I'm really happy with how these turned out. Curious to see what you think, if you like the burnished look or if you like this more subtle look. I definitely prefer this one. Definitely drop any questions in the comments. Happy to help out wherever I can. If you found this helpful, hit the like button, subscribe. There will be a number of videos coming up, some unboxings, first looks, reviews. Excited to share some new stuff with you guys. Thanks.